When in doubt, just bring the belt on camera. If anything else, even if it's not a wrestling-related talk, just bring the belt on camera because I had no preamble set for tonight. I was having fun chatting backstage with my friends, and I'm like, I think we got a show on, so let's go and do it. So we got a late-night stream tonight. Apparently, it's a great night to go live because everyone else who you're going to see on the stream was live in some way, shape, or form in the last 24 hours. And I'm like, well, tomorrow I've been invited to a watch party for AEW all in, and you know we almost need a swear jar for how many times Ken talks wrestling when it's not even a wrestling related topic. So I'm at whatever, couple dollars in the jar right now. But I was like, you know what, it's happening in Wembley Stadium this year, or this particular time. So I'm that would be my usual TKO time, but I see there's lots of people in the chat. Everyone who I asked to come live is here, and they all said yes. I got no declines or cancellations or anything, so I guess we must be doing something right if we're going live. And if you're on the replay crew, I apologize in advance because I know it's like 1 a.m. on the East Coast right now. But on this TKO live stream at the special time, look, we got a lot of people backstage. We're going to talk some independent toys in the sword and sorcery high fantasy genre for lines that we've seen that have already delivered. So things such as Mythic Legions, obviously that's the mainstay in this particular field, as well as Animal Warriors of the Kingdom and Legends of Dragonar as well. So I haven't, everyone's prepped backstage. I'm just going to start popping people on camera at a surprise. So I think everybody's ready. We'll start with Adam from Highly Articulated. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
I think you were just opening something late, A.W.O.K related a little while ago.
I was. I opened this big thick boy up tonight, Tanger, the PowerCon exclusive.
And you say you're not a Motu person, but I think we were just proven wrong.
Well, I was actually joking about it on the stream that I didn't realize this was a Beastman tribute. I just thought it was a repaint.
Yes, and oh my goodness, look at this already. We've already got the HBK love for all our friends, and thank you guys for being up late as well. I'll say hi to the chat in a little bit here, but we got a full house backstage basically. So Brick something, our other A.W.O.K specialist, how you doing?
Yeah, how's it going? I don't know if I'm a specialist because for some reason his figure's thicker than mine. I don't know what happened.
Which one's HBK? Which one's Brett? Let's ask Sorenson and Jeremy in the chat right now. Which one's
weird?
What temperature setting did you heat yours up at?
Oh my god! I totally overheated it. Hi everybody.
And I'll tell you right now, that is not a warranty issue.
I know.
So don't send the email.
No, okay.
Don't send the email because that guy answering the emails might not have time to answer. But yes,
it'll get ignored.
Yes, absolutely. And they were streaming earlier, but we've got both members of Toy Habits tonight. They were actually on last week with me as well. So, Toy Sorceress, how are you, my friend?
I am doing good, my friend. How are you?
I am great. I don't know about these two though. They seem very beast-manish.
I was going to say, Brick apparently got the Shrinky Dink version, and Adam got the one that expands when you heat it. Because I am going to show off my A.W.O.K figures too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks to these two guys helping me finally get them. So thanks.
Absolutely. And I don't know which one of you is the HBK and which one is the Marty Jannetty, or which one's the Anvil and which one's the Hitman, but we've got your tag team partner, Michael, here from Toy Habits.
I was going to give Ken some sweet chin music tonight with my tag team partner, the Toy Sorceress, so you better watch out.
There we go. It's on late night. Okay, so let's instead of that analogy, let's say one of you's Edge, one of you's Christian, so that you at least both have some success to your name. What am I up to? Like $5 in the wrestling swear jar right now? I mean, it's bad. Or it's good.
So long.
I know, right?
Yeah, like you were both on earlier at 4:00 our time. I saw part of that stream. Adam was on, Brick was on Oz's channel, Mega J was on late last night while I was out drinking and PMing one of our chat groups about what I was up to. Glug glug glug, chug. Ken, it was a rough morning, and some Advil and some water helped. And we have the person I like to call one of the fearless leaders of our community. And somebody who, brings a lot of people together. He was at PowerCon recently, making a lot of friends. He streams all the time, very dedicated. And Oz, welcome back, my friend. You're muted. So you've got to unmute.
Sound good.
I can't hear you.
my bad, because I'm totally a professional at all this stuff. But,
That's better.
channel surf on over from my stream where we were all just shooting the shit and talking, about whatever. And, we heard the indie call, so we came running.
Yes. Well, I appreciate the dedication over there. And I know, like, one thing I said is sometimes you're still streaming at this hour. And I was like, don't cut off your stream to come over to mine. And you're like, I got 3 hours, Ken. That's plenty. You might actually be doing me the favor this time. So I'm like, okay, well, you didn't say that last part. I added that in so I'd feel better about myself. Yeah, and I don't normally have this many people on, but Mega J has had a late night cancellation, and in his place is a Mr. Stark.
I can't believe we got Iron Man on.
I like this guy better. I don't know about you.
What is going on?
Dude, that was amazing.
It's Mega J.
Wait, it's Jay after all.
Not
He's
anymore.
going away.
I love
Iron Man with a hairy neck beard.
I debuted this last night while Ken was actually at a pub somewhere. So I don't think he actually saw that part of the
No, I saw where you opened it, but I didn't see that you got the mask working. Like, I was at the pub, like, with the volume max. That's why I sent that super chat, Jay. Or did you forget I sent you money last night?
Oh yeah, I saw it. I saw that.
Yeah.
I was watching this morning as Jay was like breaking it, trying to get it to work repeatedly.
I can't see a thing in this when the lights are on. This is the mode that everyone wants to see, though.
The insta kill. There you go.
Yeah, and
that's amazing.
Pizza face here saying Iron J would try.
I can't do the whole show like this, though. This thing's way too tight. Like,
it looks good though, man, and I love just the sound it makes as it's opening and closing.
Yeah.
Like that sells it more than anything else.
You can actually turn the sound off. So this is what it sounds like with the sound on. But if I turn the sound off, it still makes some really cool sound effects. Check this out. So,
that's freaking cool.
It's just that added little value, right? So.
And round of applause for Gazz, who's up at 1 a.m. right now. I don't know whether he'll make it through the whole stream, but he does a great job of making sure everyone's channels get pumped here. And I'm going to scroll all the way back to the beginning of the chat. This is almost a better time to go live. I got a lot of activity. I don't know if that's Oz directing everyone over here or if that's Jay's Twitter post, but who do we got? Payne's Toy Sample sends his regard. Cobweb Collector, good to see you. Nolan, we got another maybe a relative of somebody's here. Carol is here. Speaking Moistly is here. We got Allison Troy, who I think she was just on earlier with Oz.
Yep.
Rai Rai Ken greeting us. We got Thanos Copter, I think was also on earlier. Yep. Oz, thank you for being in the chat and being over here. We got Action Figures, who I think was on Oz's stream earlier too. Yep. We got Lawrence, who gave us a very kind hello before jumping into the wrestling references and reminding me who's better than Bret Hart. We've got Black Phoenix 77 and Brick Something. Andrew Davis, always good to see your name. Jeremy Kimberlin. Yeah, whatever. He likes the white IC title that's associated with Shawn Michaels. Neil Hill, good to see you. Toy Habits and both members of Toy Habits right over here. Gaz, as usual, my man. Thank you for this. We've said hi to Cobweb Collector already. We got Pizza Face in the house. Oh, there's a lot of you tonight. I must be doing something right, or my guests are doing something right.
That's
Tony Romo, one of the great customizers out there.
Yes.
Yes, one of the excellent customizers. Said hi to Rai Rai Ken already, and the chat has jumped on me and it jumped back. Oh, Rhea Black. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody because hate missing people. I don't know how some of you do this so quickly. Wilhelm, Toy, and Hobby. We got Red Knock, Ronson. Don't know where my mind was at there. We got, where is it? I saw his name earlier. Epic Badger. Good to see you here as well. We got Turtle Dave, sporting the Delta 17 love. And yeah, Well, you know what? Because some people already mentioned Delta 17. Oops, what's going on here? What did I just do? What did I just do? Oh, you know what? I managed to mess up my screen layout, but that's okay. Only I can see the mess up. Let me just share this right now. I know it's not a military related stream where we're on site, but I'm going to pull it up anyway. Because Steve on our Delta 17 account just posted something incredibly awesome. Oops, what did I just do? Technical difficulties, people. All right, there we go. There we go. Y'all see that yet?
There it is.
Ooh.
It's the detachable dog bowl
wow.
that comes on Leonidas's backpack.
That'll sell
the
it
Delta
right there.
17.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes. So
Dog bowl for O-ring scale. You
yes.
need this. You need
It's
this.
this big.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Hello, Natural Nate. And look who's joined us for another late night stream.
It's because I'm wearing the hat.
Good morning,
Did you wear
Ace.
the hat?
Isn't it morning for him?
Ace is in the house.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ken, did Austin take that pick?
Oh, no. Austin took the pick of the Paint Masters. This is of the FEP test shots. So no, he didn't take this particular one, but he took a lot of picks. And you're right. Our semi-official photographer is actually a friend of
Very cool.
Adam's.
Yeah,
So
he's co-hosting with me tomorrow. That's why it was like that's a funny little segue, but that's not his pick, so never mind. It's not relevant.
that's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Folks, I mean, we're not going to do the roundtable panel style tonight. We're just going to free flow it. It's a late night stream, and I was intending to shut up for a little bit and just download some information from some of you folks. But one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, because most of you are more familiar with this than I am. I think Adam and I might be kind of in the dark here, but I wanted to talk about this line that I largely missed out on, called Legends of Dragonar. And goodness, my screen doesn't want to share. Oh, okay, apparently it does. And I mean, look at this. Is it just me, or is that a Build-A-Figure on the end? I think it is.
That
It
is a Build-A-Figure.
Yeah.
So that's like the sacred armor that is the MacGuffin of the whole line. Each character comes with a piece of the armor, and the first person to assemble the armor in its entirety gets the power of the legendary armor. This line has caught my eye since Origins has come out, and Miliano and Josh Van Pelt are working on this line, which a lot of people may know from the Power and Honor Foundation. It had a bit of a rocky start. They tried to gear this up under the Lords of Power moniker that, was the original working title for Masters of the Universe. And several of the original concepts for these figures were very, very much inspired by the original concept art of Masters of the Universe. And they got that oh so powerful push from the most powerful lawyers in the universe at Mattel, and they had to change quite a lot up in a very, very quick amount of time so that they could still try to meet the dates. But anybody who is a 5.5 Masters Universe Vintage or even Origins collector, this line is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, actually, this is actually an interesting question right here. It seems like a Motu ripoff of some sort, but it's like, I think like you said the other day, it started as Lords of Power, right, Oz?
Yep.
I think that was the original name of it.
Yep. Lords of Power was the original working name for Masters of the Universe, and they felt it had too much of a religious context with the use of the term lords, which was a big thing back in the 80s. There was a lot of things that changed from lord to something else, and they changed up a lot after this. And when these figures originally were launched and shown, Ornitar, which is the red Oni looking guy down at the bottom, he looked a lot more like one of the earlier Beastman, Merman concepts. The Obscuro, the villain right there in the middle at the top, you know, he straight up had a Keldor head, and his name was Durlock, which if you just mix up the letters in Keldor, you get Durlock. You know, there wasn't too much here. You know,
and you're suggesting they ran into IP problems?
Oh, they definitely did. You know, they've said repeatedly that they did not do that as a purposeful thing, but honestly, I noticed the project got a lot more traction after they got all of the press from the ensuing case of, you know, hey, guys, you got to change this up. You're clearly infringing on our stuff here. Even the text and font they used for Lords of Power was like straight ripped from the old Mattel, you know, logos and stuff. So, I mean, I think they did it as kind of a way to really garner a lot of attention to the line, especially with Origins having released around that time. And, you know, now the amount of speed they had too with changing up character designs so that it just seemed like they already had these in place as their actual designs and were just like, okay, we're ready to launch these now and show, oh yeah, we'll comply, we'll change everything.
Do you think they had these as a backup plan then? Because I remember I backed this for its Kickstarter, and I love the original concepts before they were changed over to this. I like those a lot better.
Well, they were goofier looking, you know. They had that Motu style goofiness, but I definitely think
there was one that had that looked a heck of a lot like the web store concept, and I so wish that would come that would have come to fruition, but no.
Yeah, and you know, I think these were always like their original design. They just used those because again, with the guys who are running this and in charge, you know, Emiliano Santalucia and Josh Van Pelt both are Masters of the Universe historians, you know, and they had all that concept art, you know, and even if you were planning on releasing it as like an homage to Masters of the Universe in its own way, they definitely had this stuff on standby, ready to roll.
Yeah.
Right. And
well, I think they went back to the drawing board for a few months after, you know, they were told to change the Lords of Power name. If you guys remember, we were all excited when the line first got launched and announced, and we're like, well, this is surprisingly a lot like Motu, and then all of a sudden you didn't hear anything from them for a while, and actually it was a few months that went by with silence, and then all of a sudden they did come back redesigned into what you see here today. So I think they did have to actually go back to the drawing board. I mean, you know, Barbaro still holds some of that same design and look and feel to the original, you know, barbarian character that they had before. His old character had a horned helmet. Now, you know, he looks a little different, but I think they worked with what they had, and they actually went back and retooled or rechanged their design. I don't think that they had this in their back pocket, but they reworked what they were originally going with. But in my opinion, I actually really like these figures. I think they look great. I love the use of translucent plastics and all of the very bright colors and the Build-A-Figure exclusive, you know, addition to the line. So, you know, I'm excited about these. And I didn't back the entire set just merely because I had so many things for sale for pre-order, but I picked and choose and I backed most of them.
Yeah, this somehow escaped my purview completely. And then I was talking about it, like I was trying to come up with something else to add to this, because I'm like, if we're only going to talk about lines that have dropped that are in the high fantasy genre, you're largely looking at A.W.O.K and Legions, which we're going to jump into soon here, and kind of just free flow the discussion. But Oz was like, you may want to talk about Legends of Dragonar because they've dropped very recently and they were at PowerCon. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds great. So we may as well meander the discussion over there for tonight. And I'm hit or miss. Like some designs I like more than others, but that's just how it is in this particular game.
I mean, I'll just say for me, the standout of all of them was the armor. That, as people have pointed out, it's really that sort of Jack Kirby. You know, you could see the Kirby crackle on that thing. That thing looks straight up like what is it? The Zelazny, the Lord of Light sort of stuff too. And so it's gorgeous. I don't believe that they were backups. Everything that I sort of heard were that like they really did have to shift, and maybe they had some other ideas in the past that kind of got reworked. And I like them, you know, just to kind of address the. There were some comments in there about it looking like a Motu ripoff. I mean, I don't know. I struggle with that concept just because of the history of Motu. Right, Mattel tried to like put a stop to anybody who was doing anything in that form factor, like which. And, you know, historically, and they lost, and then they kind of come back around now and are trying to stop this. I understand a lot of that was because they originally were trying to use a lot of the stuff based on the Mark Taylor concepts, which I wonder how much of it was, hey, those are our designs, or also, oh, but we're doing this whole new Eternia thing based on that too.
Well,
so like they kind of
just
had
it.
something going back.
The fact that it's a Motu, and I'm using air quotes here, like rip-off / homage, is probably what's going to help sell it, right? And that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm kind of like okay with it, right? So anyway. I've always struggled with a little bit with that concept, just to throw that out there, since we're doing indie toys, and it's going to come up again when we talk about A.W.O.K. Like, you know, we talked a lot about like how much is really new out there, and one could argue that even the toys that we loved in the 80s, oh yeah, Motu is totally original, right? No, I mean, there was Conan, there was like all of these other things, right? People are talking about Thundar, Black Star. So I don't know. I feel like that's more of a personal, like you're stuck in something. I think that's my. When I look at people's comments on Delta 17, people who don't know the characters' names, they look at our preacher character and they're like, "Oh yeah, I like the stalker looking guy," or the camo dude. Oh, I love the hit and run looking guy. So I'm just kind of like, when I talk to Steve about it, I'm just like, people are gonna make these parallels. Are you okay with that? Because he's doing the sketches. I'm like, and he was like, "Yeah, that's
Ken.
You
hit the nail on the head, because these independent toy lines, Delta 17 included, which congratulations and looks fantastic to your team. They're so nostalgic and they're so well suited to fit into the existing toy lines we already have today. So Legends of Dragonar would fit perfectly with our Motu display, because the characters look like they're in the same world, right? And what do we love about the A.W.O.K figures? You know, I was attracted to these because I said, these are cousins of my Thundercats, and I can display them with my Thundercats. So I think they'll look great. Same thing with your Delta 17 figures. Of course, Ken, that they're going to fit right in with your G.I. Joe collection of O-ring figures. So I think that's the great thing about these independent toy lines. They're brand new characters. They have their own unique look to them, but they seamlessly fit in with our collection that we already have, and I think that's what's great about all of them.
And that's just it. Is everyone's going to put their own headcanon towards it anyway, right? You know, like how many people swap Marvel Legends heads onto onto figures and then throw them into G.I. Joe Classified? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I could look a lot of names in the chat right now that do that exact thing. You know, this guy and Anthony Romo. You know, always swapping their Marvel Legends stuff onto and making customs. So
it worked so well. Now I did pull up, if you want to share this, Ken.
Oh yeah, sorry. There's so many screens right now that I can't seem to.
Here's another one, Legends of Dragonar. Oh my god.
There it is. Oh, did it go up? Did it go on? Yeah.
Okay, that's my screen. So you yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah,
whoops.
that's fine.
That works, because that's the first hit account on what they had at PowerCon, which is a great look, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just you guys are just too good. So yeah, they had some amazing. I mean, like the backing cards are incredible. If you actually see them in person, it's a high gloss backing card, and it's thick. Like it's I'd say it's about 2 or 3 points. So it's really thick card, and they look amazing in package. I mean, they're just absolutely
look at that face. That's gorgeous. Yeah.
And you see that.
I'm gonna have to go back and buy the ones that I haven't pre-ordered yet. I just keep up and just buy the whole thing so I can get the design over.
Coming up next here too, we got again the Ornithar figure here, and
he's awesome.
I love how he's sold out, because he is one of the most amazing figures out of this line. Where again, he was the one that originally had again that Webster kind of look, but I like his new original design more.
I do too. Yep.
Absolutely love it.
I love
And
this guy. The
he's
genie.
yes.
Yeah, I love
Kirby.
that they just pulled from new sort of sources that we actually didn't really get. We didn't get sort of a, you know, he's called Oni, which is sort of the Japanese kind of thing, but the body type of Onitor looks very Thai and sort of Indonesian to me.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then this guy over here, like we didn't get these in Motu. So
Not at all.
yeah, to me these are extending, if anything. If you're going to add them to your line, this is sort of building things out, and I love them.
I love the
He goes with
translucent.
a freaking genie lamp on a staff. So
Yeah.
Yes,
like
he
that's
does.
so rad.
Yeah, I love the translucency in the figure. Again, he must be some sort of Jin type of character, right? So
Yep.
yeah, he comes out of that magic lamp.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Jay, do you
I'll-
happen to have any of the rest of the newer
Well,
things as well?
I move over.
Perfect.
Right? And you can actually see. So any of the early backers, they were able to receive this this castle.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
The
That's
castle
cool.
was really interesting. I thought
Yeah.
it was a wonderful addition.
And-
Michael, you back this early or?
I did, yeah. I have the castle. It's sitting. I haven't opened it
Yes.
yet because I don't have anywhere to put it. But
I
yeah,
thought it was just
I
a
do have it.
backdrop. I didn't
Right.
think
Yeah,
it
that's
actually
great.
folded into a castle. I thought found was
I was going to
amazing.
say,
That's
Jay,
really
I was
cool.
glad you got the camera shot of the inside of this because, again,
Yeah.
same. I thought it was just kind of a cardboard backdrop, but no, it's a full display inside and out, so you can actually, it's very very like Palatoy cardboard-esque, but at the same point in time, it's just gorgeous. Like the
Mhm.
art on it is phenomenal, and it's for cardboard, it's sturdy too.
Yeah, again, they're using a very thick stock for the cardboard, which is I even make note that it has this translucency on it. It's actually a reflective material. Yeah,
Pearlescence.
yeah, pearlescence.
I love
Exactly.
how Jay keeps like touching the material.
This
So
is
cute with
style.
the stylus
this is your tour
Smooth
video.
and glossy.
Yeah,
mode.
Jay,
No, that's awesome.
Jay, is this your tour video? It is, right?
Yeah, this is I posted
Okay.
this on my I think it was 3 videos ago on
Yeah.
my channel. Yeah, and the reason I brought it up was they actually
cool.
did some premiere. They actually launched a few extra characters, which I thought everyone would enjoy seeing. I think it was around. Yeah, here they are. These are what really excite me. These ones are crazy. They actually have
Yeah.
the real dragons, which can go bipedal, or they can actually go full dragon mode. So
Those
these
are
these
incredible.
are incredible.
And
Yeah,
you got-
and
'cause you
that's
can
why
use
I
them to
asked
ride.
about these.
Right?
Yep.
Those are actual beasts for the characters to ride on top of, or they can become, bipedal characters.
Absolutely.
And that's why I asked if you had these, Jay, because again, to shift and push back a little bit on the notion of like these are, Motu characters. That notion of like, oh, we didn't get that. Like these are a whole new world, and I think,
Totally.
yeah, and it's only gonna go even further. It's the same thing with A.W.O.K. We saw a certain type of thing for Wave 1. And then Wave 2 came, and Wave 3 is coming. And if these lines keep going, you're going to see even more amazing new characters, probably new shapes, sizes,
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
And what I love,
Open the mind.
Yeah, and they're starting to come into repaints and creating new characters, but at the same time, they're all part of the lore, right? This guy's
that
really
guy.
cool.
Woo!
This Moss
So
character,
good.
he looks
Mhm.
freaking amazing. I mean, he's obviously some sort of king of the woods. You
That's
can see his
It's
mace.
his cousin.
Absolutely, exactly.
Mossman's cousin. Yeah.
That's Mossman's cousin.
that's Oak Man.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that thing is straight out of like the things on the trees in Game of Thrones, right?
Right.
I mean, it's really
yeah.
cool. They're pulling from some really cool things and coming up with some really great designs.
Right.
Did
You've
you notice that the red dragon, his head, that is the dragon from the Legends of Dragonar from their like logo,
card
right?
backs
Card
and-
back
Yeah.
And the castle.
I'm wondering if he has a destiny or is their world building here, which is just absolutely amazing.
which is something we all seem to like, at least out of this particular cast and crew, we definitely like.
Wow.
But I love that each dragon is not just a simple, color paint variant. Each one has distinct tail, distinct head. Much of the body is rest of the same. Fine, that's great because you're saving on tooling that way, but you're still giving us distinct look for each dragons. And even these wave 1.5, because that's what all these color variants of the original lineup are. That's wave 1.5. With the exception of this set here, that was a PowerCon exclusive set. Again, looks gorgeous. So you got the Divine Armor, Barbaro, and also Obscuro in these different color forms, which again, we also saw other forms of that along with the dragons for that 1.5 wave. Those new characters they announced, that is wave 2 along with the dragons. And then we're also like 2 characters they didn't have ready for show at PowerCon.
Look at that Kirby crackle right there.
Yeah,
right.
This background and the backdrop is actually part of the set that when you purchase
That's
it.
really cool.
Yeah, so
were you able to buy these at the con, or
yes,
were they just on? Oh, cool. Okay.
They were available at the con. I regret not picking it up, honestly.
Yeah, because the shipping is insane for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Oz, did you need me to pull your screen up, or was it kind of the same idea that Jay's doing right now?
No, actually, what is on my screen is that original design.
Okay.
That we had.
Are you ready to swap? Are you ready to swap out, Jay?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I didn't even realize this is actually one of the creators. He didn't say anything.
Yep.
He didn't introduce himself. You know, I was in my own little world. I was just talking, and he sort of pointed a few things, but he didn't say, "Hi, I'm blah blah." And I was like, I would have done a really quick interview with him.
A lot of creators are pretty unassuming. Like, I had to basically push Steve to the front when we got to Joe Fest. I'm like, this guy right here. I can answer questions too, but he can answer the design questions better. So like, get over it. Yeah.
He's pointing right here. Like he could have easily said, "Yeah, I'm one of the designers, and I know English isn't his first language, but you know he spoke very good English when he did speak." So. Right, it was just interesting being in that environment, and but I really do like these variants that they're starting to bring out. You know, different heads, different color schemes, and different characters for the most part as well. Like I'm not really familiar with this character here in the front, the Beastman. So yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. Also, I just wanted to bring this up. I can't remember 100%, but I remember hearing something along the lines. Now, this could just be Master Universe lore, but I do believe I did hear once upon a time that the actual Master Universe buck is public domain, which is why you see all these bootlegs of different, you know, Motu characters. And actually, while we were there at PowerCon, there were 4 different companies that had Motu style figures. One from Italy, another one from Mexico, a whole bunch of different figure lines that literally just had He-Man style bucks. And can anybody confirm that? Because I remember hearing it somewhere along the line.
I've heard exactly the same thing. Yeah. So you're absolutely right, because they could not copyright the body style per se, just like the character designs. Right. So
they could not.
That is why we got all the variants back in the 80s.
the exact wording that was used to them was they cannot copyright the masculine muscular body. You can't copyright something so generic.
Right. So like me, right?
Exactly. Michael's physique. They copied Michael's exact physique.
I couldn't copyright his physique, but I did copy his shirt. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we could do there. So yeah. Oz, I'm gonna pull up your screen here in a second.
Absolutely.
And let's go ahead and do that. So we've got 45 people watching. We had up to 53 at one point. So press that like button, people, because this seems to be a good time to go live. I don't know if I'll do it like this all the time going forward, but it seems to be a good time.
Trying to zoom in the best I can, because I had to pull up the web browser version of Insta here to pull this up. But this is straight from theirs. And this was, as you can see, as of October 29, 2021. These were the original designs that they were going to go with. So in the background here, you have the web store look-like that became Onitar. Here's Durlock right here. And if you notice, his staff looks a lot more Skeletor-ish, like Havoc staff from the movie. Barbaro looking straight like the original He-Man concept. And even their version of Teela here with her Battle Cat style-esque helmet. And it says right here that, the line will include designs by He-Man creator Mark Taylor. They were very upfront about all of that. I kind of actually really enjoyed the fact that we've got this full barbarian barefoot, running around in his underwear kind of thing, because he just doesn't care. I really enjoyed the looks here. But when they came out with the redesigns, which was a couple of months later, as I said, they went quiet right around holiday season, and then like they made the announcement that they had to change a lot in January, and it was like by February and March they started rolling out the new design looks, and it was great because it kept it right on time for what they were looking for like around their launch day. It was slightly delayed, but they were still able to keep a good pace so that we weren't lagging too far behind on actually getting everything out. It didn't halt all of it.
Nice.
Yeah, this was you know what, half the time that was going on with this, they were playing with fire, like they were poking the bear a lot. If you want to bring up my screen really quickly, I mean that same year where they announced the Lords of Power line, Mattel actually released the original Lords of Power 5-pack.
Yeah.
It was really poking the bear. Like you knew this was coming. You knew it was out. Why would you go in that direction? I believe they had this concept that since Mark Taylor was involved and he was the original designer for Master Universe, they thought that they were in the clear. But the reality is Mark Taylor was working for Mattel at the time, so any of the IPs that he worked on belonged to Mattel, and I think that's really where things got messy. So it was you know these, and if you really look at these characters, I mean, this is Demo Man. You know what I mean? Like,
the classic style Demo Man. Yeah,
that's Demo Man. Like, that's actually what it. This is Panther.
Yep.
Right. That's a female version of Panther.
Yep.
This is Keldor.
Yep.
Right. And that if you look at the staff, that is the movie version of the Havoc staff.
Oh, it's the Frank Langella.
Yeah, that is the Frank Langella movie version of the Havoc staff. This is He-Man. I mean, it is literally He-Man. He doesn't have
the original design.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Oh, the Vicor style design.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the Vicor original He-Man design.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we all saw in classics anyway, but it's nice to see it in this style.
See,
man,
they removed his boots, thinking that would help, but even the side.
So now he's Ular.
Yeah. Even the side gauntlet and the wrist. Yep.
Yeah. I was to answer your question, you know, back in the 80s, Remco released their old Warlords line, which looked a lot like Masters of the Universe.
Exactly. And that was the one
reason they got away with it was because they could not copyright that buck.
That's what it was.
Wow.
Exactly.
I was going to share my screen with a photo of it. But anyway, it can't be, you know, copywritten. So
they basically got laughed out of court for trying to copyright.
Wow! Look at this guy
joining the kingdom here.
He looks.
That wasn't me. I didn't bring that up. That's my next screen.
Adam, was that you? Was that help at Spiro Toys? No. Okay.
Oh no. You know what? Adam's been relatively quiet, and I've been trying to fake it tonight by pretending I know about Legends of Dragonar. But well, if Jay, if you're not ready to go on about that, let's show what Sorceress, the screen Sorceress shared right now.
Yep. That's the old Warlords from Remco. But they had, you know, all these like barbarian looking figures. And so they were able to get away with it. I'm sure they got sued by Mattel when they first started, but they weren't successful.
They were. And again, it was what Mattel was trying to say was that you can't have figures in that form factor and that body style in that pose. But Warlord was like a character and an IP in and of itself, right? That they were bringing to life, and they just happened to.
But they could have done it in any other form factor or style.
Sure. But I mean,
but they were able to do it.
And I know we're a little off the rails for the topic, but I'll just say, like, you know, Kenner, when they came out with those, I don't know if you've heard of Star Wars, those original 5 POA.
I have no idea.
Once upon a time.
If you haven't heard of it,
in a galaxy far, far away,
they literally took Fisher Price Adventure People and molded on top of them as their concepts. And then guess what their figures turned out to be? They stood up like this in the exact same pose. Right. It was the same argument. Like, oh, well, why are you able to make that? If Fisher Price Adventure People were, it was a stupid argument. That said, this case with Dragonar, obviously it was like the IP of those characters, as you mentioned, Mark Taylor's work for hire, right? Work for hire situation. Mattel owned the IP, and it was those designs. And again, I still maintain that probably right around that time, they had an entire line for Massiverse plan that was built on the Mark Taylor concept design. So I think that probably also was why they were like, nah, you can't do this right now. But at the end of the day, I think they went back to the drawing board and gave us some really cool designs. So,
got much better product now.
Yeah, and I'll say that's where the indie toy thing is really able to shine, is when these folks can really start to maybe step away from purely being nostalgia based and homage, and maybe kind of creating something new, whether that's cobbling pieces together or whatever. So
it is interesting though. Ken, if you want to bring up that Lords of Power screen back up, I did want to just say one thing before we move on. It is interesting though, and this is very interesting. And I think other companies, Ramatoy, are also interested in this type of strategy. It is very interesting that, they actually went and poked the bear so badly with using the term Lords of Power. I mean, literally, that same year the Lords of Power 5-pack actually came out. So by doing this got them more attention, right? By actually getting a C&D, right? And then they basically on their Twitter, they're like, oh my God, we're Mattel has contacted us. They're asking us to change things up. This is crazy. It got a bit of a sympathy vote for them. You know what I mean? It got attention for what they were doing, and through that, because again, this is like the beginning, right? They were doing so many things with this particular strategy, and then they pivoted to a concept called Legends of Dragonar, and now look at where we are. Like the figures are arguably more interesting and have garnered more attention. Because I love those bipedal dragons. They are freaking amazing. I can't wait to get
those are so rad.
Mega J, I think you're absolutely right about the name. That they were really, again, I think they were trying to uplift Mark Taylor and his original idea, right? So the Lords of Power kind of thing goes. And fun fact, like this line was actually originally called I believe it was Lightning Pussies, but then they changed it because they didn't want to go in a similar direction.
You heard it all. Lightning Pussies.
I was going to say I don't see Silverkayyy on here right now.
No, I don't know if you knew that. So they went a completely different direction, and like this, they created a whole new thing called Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Lightning Pussies had a good sound to it, but so just
I would buy Lightning Pussies.
We gotta call Jason and get we gotta call Jason and get that confirmed, like right now. So how about Adam? Tell us about Mythic Legions.
He's like,
man, and here I was trying to do a segue, but okay.
You caught him in mid-swig.
Mythic Legions, what do you want to know? I don't know.
What I want to know?
Yeah. What do you want to know?
I guess the figures are pretty cool. For one thing, I got a couple here on my shelf.
Yeah, I mean, Mythic Legion stuff is great. I mean, it's. I think they sort of took what Motu did, back then, and they're kind of trying to do that high fantasy thing. Now they don't mix art yet, the sci-fi and high fantasy stuff, but.
Cosmic.
But I mean the designs, the sculpts, the paint. I mean those things come out, of the mold just a single color, and then they're painted head to toe.
Yeah.
So, going back to the Dragonar stuff, like I get where people kind of go that might look like a dollar store Motu because it's less articulation, and they're simple figures, right? So the paint apps, there's not as many paint apps. No one's ever said that about Mythic Legions. No one's ever got a Mythic Legions figure in hand and went, they kind of skimped out on, whatever.
Well, look, they have a bipedal battle cat, and it's called Purplor. In fact, he's in the shelf right here, but no one says that about them as well.
You got Purplor and I can't think.
Cowaros.
By the way, Ken, I love your T-shirt.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. I'm trying to, trying to represent.
I love that.
Oh, is that Krona?
That is Krona.
This is not Trapjaw. This is
they're
not
tribute
Trapjaw.
figs, right?
Yeah, and they're intentionally tribute figs. And again,
they're tributes.
So this line, Mythic Legions, was a brainchild of the Four Horsemen Studios, who worked on the 2000X line, Motu 2000X, and Motu Classics, right? So They showed up to PowerCon many a moons ago and started doing these tribute figures based on the Mythic Legion's buck. And to Adam's point, like head to toe, these things have attention and detail and paint, not to mention the sculpt that's gorgeous. All sorts of really cool removable accessories. And of course, I won't demonstrate now. And you've got the cool highly articulated, one might say, jaw. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw out there, like, again, to harp on the notion of, oh, these are ripoff. Like, I think some people would say not necessarily Motu, but like, oh, this is, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, right? Oh, they've got dwarves, so therefore this must be. No, I think that's like way too simplistic. And it's just like, there's nothing new under the sun. And I think people are taking, these people are taking these things and making new things.
This right here, upcoming out of their Pox this wave, is like one of their new dragon species. However, this dropped early. This is Cosmic Legions, where they did an homage to the Masters of the Universe Whiplash figure. And this guy is gorgeous. He's got this big beefy tail here. And I've got gorilla mitts here. I've got huge hands. And if you notice how dwarfed my hand is by this is their ogre scale figures. So I'll stand him next to his Masterverse counterpart. This is the new Whiplash character, and if I put them at even footing, actually he was a little bit lower. Now let me bring him back down.
Holy cow!
You see how much taller, like how huge this guy is comparatively. And again, this is your Masterverse figure. This is your paint apps from one of the big guys. And then you have the high detail paint app. And mind you, this is one of their more simple paint apps that they do.
It's true. Yep.
How much does that figure run? Like, what's the cost? Because we know, obviously, the Origins figures are for retail, and that Whiplash was about, $30, $32 or so, because it's a deluxe figure. But what does that Cosmic Legions figure run?
So when you're looking at the ogre scale figures, those guys tend to be like that $70 price range. So you are paying significantly more for them. But whenever the Four Horsemen put up a wave, like right now, if you go to the Store Horsemen, you can pre-order the next Cosmic Legions wave. Now, with the exception of our friends in Canada, sorry, Ken, Jay, Adam. If you pre-order pretty much within the US from the Four Horsemen, like right now while they have it up for retail, that's going to be the cheapest price you get, where like their basic figures, which I don't have any of my basic. Yes, I do. I got Dubon right here in front of me. So this guy's going to be like around your Dubin, your $37 price range. And that's like their basic figures. They started around $37 and then they go up from there. But again, you're talking completely full detailed paint apps, tons of accessories. This guy's got shoulder pauldrons, he's got a dagger plus his sword. And this particular character comes with critters. He's got this beautiful falcon that lands right on his wrist. You just pop off his hand, slide that over his wrist guard. Now he's holding that. You get other really awesome Masters of the Universe homage figures, again, mostly at PowerCon. This is Bryophytus. He is their Moss Man. So even though I did not get Moss Man from Masters of the Universe yet, I got Bryophytus. So I've still got a flocked mossy goodness over here. It doesn't smell like pine, though.
Yeah, he's flocked, right?
Mossy's saying, "What the flock?
What the flock? That dude stole my gimmick."
As you pointed out, as Oz pointed out, there's a different scales in this thing, and so we'd be remiss if we didn't mention.
I don't have any of these big bad boys.
Oh, the trolls.
The trolls, right? So, and for context,
that's a lot of plastic.
Do you guys remember these humanoids?
Do you have a goblin there?
Sorry,
that thing is bigger than your face.
Nice! You've got a.
Oh my god, that thing's huge.
Right, they're regular height.
And
figures.
Adam, I heard you. And
you do have one. I grabbed one too.
Goblin and dwarfs.
That's still part of the Mythic
Yeah.
Legion, right? That's not.
Yeah,
So this
that's
is all
Mythic.
still Mythic Legions, and these came out real early in the line. So I just, again, to tie it back to the topic, like what indie folks are able to do, they can be a little bit more nimble and do and experiment with some things that maybe some of the larger companies really aren't in a position to, especially if they're starting out with a Kickstarter, right? With sort of like feeling out the market, gauging interest. And I'm going to keep harping on this point, but you could say, oh my God, look at that little green dude. That's so Lord of the Rings. That's so Warcraft. But I mean, and you get into the lore, you get into all that, you realize, no, this is a new take. Sure, they're using existing tropes, but they're giving us new stuff that frankly just isn't coming
Didn't
from
exist.
other companies.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not out there in the toy world, Like who else right now is making goblins for toys?
The thing about Mythic Legions too is you can really get into the creature side, you can get into the skeleton side. I'm very much, I love the knights. This is Sir Owain. This is Sir Owain from oh my goodness, which faction is it? Not the Ilonus Flock. It's what's the name of the faction that he's part of? I'm gonna Order of Atheon. That's the one.
What the Flock?
Atheon, right? What the Flock, right? So like for example, like some of you, like Adam, you said you're not super deep into what do you call it? The knight stuff. You prefer some of the other stuff, right? For me, when I see the knights, I just jump right on it, right? Like I got the Templar knights as well. So I don't know.
Adam loves the skeletons.
Those are cool.
Yes.
I'm in the minority because the probably the most popular stuff in Mythic Legions are the knights and the skeletons, and that's I think I have one skeleton because he's translucent, and I have a few knights, but most of the stuff, like I go for elves, goblins, trolls, ogres.
I'm a barbarian
the fuzzies, like there's things with cat heads, goat heads. My favorite figure is Thistlethorn, who's like he's a fuzz monk, so he's like a fuzzy goblin. But
he's a fuzz monk.
I've been staring at
whale goblin.
Oh yes, you've got basically the Stinkor one. I've been looking at Blue Hagnon very closely.
It's a great one.
He went up for pre-order around the same time as the second edition of the Headless Horseman.
Yep.
So I'm sitting here going, where do I draw the limits? Nice cup, Jay. Where do I draw the limits as far as that's concerned? I got my cup over there. It's my new coffee cup. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. You've got the original Hagnon here, the translucent Hagnon. I don't know, like, where do you draw the line with Mythic Legions? Because if you jump into the factions and you get into the lore just through their bios, because I know most of the lore is through the bios, it's less through books and everything like that. Where do you draw the line? You do your own headcanon, or do you follow the lore? Because if you didn't get in on some of the early figures, you're preying on the All-Stars figures, but the All-Stars often get, like, between the time that the All-Stars wave is announced to the figure landing in hand, it could be 18 months. Right?
Yeah.
I know when I ordered the Attila and Gorgo War of the Aetherblade 2-pack. Aetherblade? How do you say it? Aetherblade? Aether. I don't think it matters, right? Aetherblade, War of the Aetherblade 2-pack. I ordered it in like January of 2022. It arrived a few months ago, and it had already been up for a little bit, and it's so worth it. But I'm sitting there like, you're kind of preying on the All-Stars stuff getting re-released. And the brief time I did get to talk to Jeremy Gerard, who, for people who don't know, he's the brand manager now for Mythic Legions. I don't know if he handles Cosmic as well. He does. Okay, so I was like, man, I really wish that they would do the original PowerCon Adamon and Keltis figures, and he's like, slim chance on those, because that the Horsemen really wanted to keep that for their original. Like, I mean, it's got to be a way around it, like maybe they do like a battle armor version of those characters, and that's how they get around it. I don't know, and he can't commit either way. But it's like, if you didn't get in early, you're missing out on characters like that, right?
Well, Adamon, at least, he's also one of these homage figures.
Yes.
Once the homage figures kind of go out of print, they've said openly that they would not reintroduce them. But normally what you will see is maybe an alternate version of an homage figure in some way. I know one of the other barbarians is actually Adamon again. He's just been painted up a bit different. Like his scarring is a little bit
Okay,
different.
I was gonna say the scarred version. That's the one that I was looking at, right? Yeah, and I want to buy Duban. I want to buy more of these characters. But it's just like it's so hard to anyway.
Well, just to tie it all back to what we were talking about earlier, the part of the reason that we won't see Adamon, aka Adam, aka He-Man, or Keltor, is because they have a history of working with Mattel.
Yep.
And so they knew that it was PowerCon, so they intentionally were doing these sort of loving homages, but intentionally in sort of small supply because they don't want to poke the bear, who they, obviously have had experience working with. So, sorry, you're not going to get them again.
Yeah. So
you're getting by $300 on the aftermarket. That's what they go. That's what they went for a year ago. I don't know what they go for now.
Well, Adam has a take on the way to do Allegiance as far as like, do you look back or not? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was so when I got into the line late, and so I was looking at the stuff that I had missed out on, and I grabbed a couple things, but like you very quickly realized that you're either sort of all in on Legions only, or you're only buying stuff that hasn't been released yet, because because as Brick mentioned, or Ken, was it you that mentioned like $300 for one of those Adamons or something like that? Like, and a lot of figures go for that. Like, it's not just those tribute figures. Mm-hmm. There's 30 figures in Mythic Legions that go for $200+.
Yep.
And if you don't have them, but that's where like I kind of made the conscious decision that like I can't go back. It's I bought Thistlethorn, I bought Purplore, I bought Balam. Like I bought a few of the figures that I was like, okay, there's not even really anything else in the line that's like similar to this. But Attila, you got like you said, you got that Attila and Gorgo 2-pack for the War of the Aetherblade. Those were two very expensive figures, and when they got re-released, there was people that were upset.
But they look different than the original release.
They're updates.
A little
So
different.
What Mythic Legions is doing now, what the Four Horsemen are doing now, is they're effectively doing like version 2s. They're doing they're doing updated versions, and what they're using is quite clever, really, because like
that's the version 1.
No, that's version 2.
Is that version 2?
This is version 2 from Aetherblade.
Is it? I've got version 2 right here. I swear it looks a little bit different.
And anyway. I don't mean to interrupt your flow there, Adam, but just to your point, the version 2, part of what you've said in the past is like, there's a lot of reasons not to go back. One is cost, obviously, as you've pointed out, and I'll talk about that later. But the basically with Legions, like the newer stuff is always going to be better. They're going to figure out new things, like work with new partners like C. Jessam, who are doing these amazing soft good, awesome wired capes. I don't have the shield on this guy, but it's like 1,000,000 times better in my opinion than the original. So there isn't a whole lot of reason to look back, because everything coming, there's just, as they talked about earlier, as Oz mentioned, when these things are new, they're the cheapest you'll ever get them.
Basically, so and you're right. Sorry, that is a version 2. I had to pull out mine from the bookcase.
If you just move forward, Ken, and anybody else, like you're going to get them on pre-order, or shortly after, they're going to be the cheapest you're ever going to buy them. And guess what? The newer figures get better and better.
I was going to say, just to prove that point, this is the version 1 of Attila. You look at those pauldrons; they're the basic kind of knight pauldrons. You look at his setup; it's the very original basic knight setup. Even that lion headdress, that helmet, is not as fierce looking as the version 2 that you're looking at now. So when they do a re-release, you're going to get a better version of that figure for cheaper. Again, it's a fan vote when they do the All-Stars, which is a lot of times when you get these. But again, this guy was not part of a fan vote for War of the Aetherblade. He has a purpose in the game. So there are ways that you can get some of these original figures in remade versions, and they will always have upgraded bucks, bodies, and they really just go over the top each time. And again, the paint detail in apps, like you can see in here, you've got this red with this blue outline coming on the outsides of the armor. If you're ever wondering why this figure is like a $40 figure, the paint detail and paint apps speak for themselves. And I hate to sound like a shill here, but I will shill like a villain all day for these guys.
Shilling like a villain.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the lineup at PowerCon was ridiculous. I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
they had one booth just for the displays, and then they had a whole section right for sales and the lineup. I was blown away at the realization that PowerCon is like where a lot of people, other than Legion's Con, the PowerCon is like the place to go for anyone who's a Mythic Legions fan. You know what I mean?
Well, just indie toys in general now is one of those things that I kind of want to put out there. PowerCon removed. Well, they didn't remove. Mattel decided to back out. Hasbro's never really had a presence at Legions. But Mattel used to, kind of endorse Legions because it was like one of their big things. That's why so many of the Homage characters come out, or, everybody has a Masters Universe themed Homage type of some sort that's a PowerCon exclusive. But, while Jay and I were there this year, like the indie guys took over, and it really gives them their chance to shine with nobody overshadowing, drawing attention away. You can focus on all of these amazing, like again, Jay just showed his footage of Formo toys there. It's incredible and brilliant to be able to see these up close, really have them all out on display. And nobody's like, oh, look at these cool Formo toys. But wait, there's Origins over here. That it's not there. You don't have that. I know we're doing kind of high fantasy tonight, but the same thing was there with, Bobby Vala and Valaverse. They were there. They had a very demanding presence themselves right next to Four Horsemen. And, there wasn't anybody like showing off. Hasbro wasn't there showing off Classified to kind of like overshadow them. And it's great too, because he gets that at Joe Fest as well, where he's like on display. Which next year I'm hoping we see a lot more Delta 17 at, PowerCon and Joe Fest. I mean, I know they were already there this year for Joe Fest, but I want to see more Delta 17 at PowerCon next year. Just because it's going to be amazing to see you guys and really show off what you're going. But like I said,
I managed to convince Steve to go to Joe Fest. Now, anyone know if Sorceress is going to come back? I mean, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I was on the phone with her. Her internet just crashed, and so she's trying to.
Oh no.
Okay, that's it's all good. I know she's in the middle of moving, and I mean, I know I missed part of the conversation here, but it's one of those things that when we first talked about PowerCon, because Mega J actually was the one who recommended it, and we were like, it'd be a great idea, because Steve's not really a Motu person. I'm more the Motu person than him, but it's also not my primary collection. So I was kind of like, well, is it the right crowd? And then we started hearing from people, it's moved to a more indie show. Yes, Motu's still the dominant line if you had to pick a dominant line, but it's no longer as prevalent as it once was. And then everyone who was at the show, people who took, videos like Mega J, Oz was there, Scuba Pete told me about it. Neil Hill, who was in the chat, told me about it. I think Andrew Davis was there too. A lot of you were like, it's not really the Motu show only now. It's become the independent toy capital of America, which means these O-ring lines have a home.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right? So, and people are saying that like Mythic Legions, like Four Horsemen was king there. They were the king of the castle. They were the big booth. They had the biggest lineup. And they're Motu-esque in some ways. They're also Lord of the Rings-esque in some ways. And
they also have Cosmic Legion now, right?
They have Cosmic Legion, so they are leading the independent toy movement at PowerCon. So
if I can add something, unless Adam, were you in the middle of a thought, or had you moved on? Okay, so I mean, on the Cosmic Legion, first thing I'll say about price. Yes, they can be expensive. People have laid it out, but I will say you also heard Adam and Oz talk about a $300 figure, $200 figure, and that's not just one. And I don't buy to invest. And if you're buying toys to invest, like, oh, good luck to you. But if you are, I'm just, I'm thinking about some of the stuff I have here. I don't think when I sell this in a couple of years, I'll be able to recoup the same I might be able to for, say, a Mythic or Cosmic Legions. And there's something to be said about that because these toys are not being made in the same numbers that you are some of the larger companies. Just to throw that piece out there. And then the other one I will say, because Jay, you brought that up, and I know, Ken, you wanted to stick to high fantasy, but I mean, these are pretty fantastic. So this is the Cosmic Legions. And so now you've got this indie toy maker in Four Horsemen who are like, you know what, as creatives, we love fantasy, but we love science fiction too. And they are giving us this in this line, some amazing like new species. There's not a single human in this line to date.
Nope.
We are look at these. Holy, I just opened this recently, and then I opened, I mean, can I just show you these wings? Look at these wings. Like,
that's crazy.
This like, give me my buzz off with these wings. But like, these are fantastic. And I just found out today, because I'm dense, they have these little arms too. But they're fully articulated, highly articulated. Again, you might say at the elbow they move, at the what would be the equivalent. Oops, what am I pointing to? The equivalent of the shoulder. There's a ball there, and I just pulled it out because I just learned this today because I didn't even know these also move. And it's just like the craft and just the loving detail and attention that goes into these things are amazing. Check out that silhouette. Like. Such a cool toy. And then if you're like, well, what would one of those things look like if they were like in full sci-fi armor? It's this. Wow. It's wild. So anyway, I agree with you, Oz, and Jay that they were the darling. But I will also say on Ken, because Ken, I've loved this conversation you've been having around the toy renaissance, this notion of the indie toy and the idea of like the fans becoming creators. Like, these guys were fans. They grew up with the same things we did, and then they happened to become sculptors who worked with Garland Toys. Yep. Mm-hmm. And they're giving us the toys that I think were in our heads in the 80s and 90s and translating that into plastic.
When I did my toy renaissance video, which actually started out as an article on geekdadlife.com, one of the things that I said is fans now have their own fans, right? Yep. And it feels like that the people who are making it's just one of our peers, that's how it is. There's threads now on his tank that say O-ring Renaissance, and I saw those words. I'm like, yes, you know what I mean? I just love it, right? And let's pull that up.
Just again, they're doing special figures in a brand new a third line, kind of came out second, but Figure Obscura, which is like these special one-off things that come out maybe twice a year. But this is Sun Wukong. They did the Headless Horseman. They did a Krampus, and they're
Father Christmas.
Father Christmas, and just pulling from all sorts of other lore. So
Krampus right here for you.
There's just some amazing stuff in this indie toy thing going on that, like, if you haven't been paying attention, totally get it, because I love my nostalgia brands, and I want them to make toys of all my favorite things. So please do that. But there's also some really cool, exciting new stuff out there that there's a lot of love put into these things. So
these are all.
I mean, sorry, what's up?
Well, I was just going to say, I wanted to apologize. I lost my internet connection, and I'm actually on my hotspot for my cell phone right now, so I can log back in.
That's fine. That's fine. No worries, no worries. I mean, look at how much we've been able to talk about tonight, just narrowing it down to like the indie lines for high fantasy that have already delivered, and that's with minimal Delta 17 segue. That's with minimal talking about lines that haven't dropped yet, with minimal, everything else, and just the amount of conversations we can have in the indie toy space now compared to like 5 years ago. Imagine that. What do you got? What do you got there?
I'm just showing you. I realized like
alternate heads,
like just
like everything.
There you go. And Jay's got something for us too.
This right here, line up of power.
Yes,
it was just absolutely crazy. I mean, like, and you know what? I know that we're on high fantasy and science fiction, but
that's fine.
There were just so many different companies, and these were considered guest companies, right? Almighty Legends. I mean, who would have thought that anybody would be interested in multiple gods from multiple cultures? But it's gotten a bit of traction, right? Boss Fight Studios. I mean, these guys, they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Like they're getting back into Strawberry Shortcake, Fraggle Rock, right? And the Saronic Warriors. I mean, these guys are just going crazy, right?
I have a couple of their Popeye figures. They're pretty cool.
Little controversy with these guys, but that's for a different.
A little bit, but no matter what, they're going into different lines and really getting very interesting in terms of their overall. But then you go to something like Fresh Monkey Fiction, and they're doing almost their own style of G.I. Joe type army builder characters, right? Yeah, like they're going full out with superheroes and different.
I want their Jack Burton type of character. And you know what? When Fresh Monkey Fiction, they actually followed us on Delta 17 last night because Steve and I share the Instagram and the Facebook on it. And when they followed us, I screenshotted it. I'm like, yes, Fresh Monkey Fiction followed us. I love it. I love it. And yeah.
But it's all about the indie. It's all about the indie crowd there, right? Like it's this PowerCon really is quickly, very very quickly becoming one of my favorite conventions. Just because of the atmosphere, the camaraderie, the community that's there. You know what I mean? Like it really does have a more open and indie feel. Actually, you know what, that is really what it is. It's an indie type of feel. It feels like we're all part of one big community there when we're actually there, and you can actually just go around and see just amazing things. I mean, Frazetta, and for things like Boss Fight Studios. I mean, Corey Cantaloupe is actually working with Boss Fight now, right?
Yes, and yes. And I just found out on the Full Force podcast, Corey he actually pronounces Cantaloupe, and I've always called him Cantaloupe, and I actually apologized to him. He goes, "Ken, everybody calls me that, so don't even worry about it." He even introduced himself to me at Jofa as Corey Cantaloupe, and I forgot, and I added the A at the end as I usually do. Yeah. So yeah, I know Michael's got to go relatively soon, and I think the Sorceress, I think both members of Toy Habits got to bounce relatively soon. So what I think I'm going to do here, Jay, we'll just take a quick break from that. Why don't you all tell us what's going on next? I know you just had a stream today, but tell us where we can find you, what's going on next, the website, everything. The two of you.
Oh yeah, of course. There's a couple things that I'm working on right now. We have some very talented people taking like really amazing Instagram shots, and so there's this one person who did like a really cool scene with the Skeleton Warriors. I also found a Motu customizer on Instagram who like makes the whole She-Ra line like in vintage form, which is amazing. So
you had a customizer on last week, I think.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah. We did. I'm exhausted and I can't think of his name right now.
Customizers is like one of the newest ways of playing with your toys.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorceress, anything to add
Customs,
to that? Okay, there we go. All right.
So this week we did cover all of the vehicles and playsets that were remaining that could be possibilities in the Motu Origins line, and next week we're going to have part 2 of that series, which is going to be all of the remaining creatures and accessory packs. So we're going to go through all of the vintage sets of creatures that have not been released yet. So that's going to be a really fun topic. Check out toyhabits.com. We've always got new news on there. I just I just announced yesterday Wave 3 of the latest 50th anniversary Mego World's Greatest Superheroes, and those are some deep cuts, so that's pretty cool because I love Mego figures, so that was a lot of fun. So check those out. And I mean, just stay tuned to our website, our Instagram page, our community section of our YouTube channel. We're always posting when we put up brand new articles there, and you never know when we're gonna dig something up, you know, and give you guys some awesome news. Also, Snake Mountain is starting to ship out to all of you folks out there, so can't wait to see photos and things of that. I know Michael got his today. Mine's coming on Monday. So
exciting times.
I can't open it for another like month or two. I'm gonna look at the box and it's gonna go in the garage.
Oh, because you gotta get moving.
Exactly. That's why I have nothing behind me.
Part
all
of
the
what's
links
held up this. I need my Snake Mountain to finish doing my setup up here.
Yeah,
I'm holding off.
I know.
So everyone's linked for the
I'm in the
channel.
middle of moving, so I'm gonna have to reset up everything fresh in the new place.
Check the description below for the of the video. Everyone's channel links is here, as is the toyhabits.com website. So yeah, you'll be able to find them there. Michael, Sorceress, feel free to stay on, drop off whenever you feel like, and we'll just flow on the conversation. We're not going to go too much longer. I mean, I got to get up for a pay-per-view tomorrow, and you know, it is getting a little late. Sure, we can say paper routes.
That's how he's going to afford his new toys.
There we go. It might be getting late for me too. I thought I said pay-per-view, but if you heard paper route, that's fine. You know, just play Paperboy on NES.
I wanted to thank you, Ken, for having us on. I wanted to say hello to all of you fellow people on the stream with us tonight. Mega J is awesome. Adam, thank you again for helping me get my A.W.O.K figures and brick something as well. You guys are awesome. And Oz, always a fun time hanging out with you. Ken, my bestie, we're always like DMing each other till late at night about all sorts of fun stuff. So I appreciate you having us on. Always a fun time.
You're always welcome. You know,
my partner in crime, Michael, can't see enough great things about you. I'm going in the wrong direction this way, and it's been fun. So
yeah, all right. Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for having us, and I'm going to sign off and go to bed.
Good night, Take care, Toy Habits crew.
Good night, Mike. Good night, guys.
Good night, Toy Sorcerers. Or you're still hanging out. Cool.
No, I'm going to leave in a second. I'm just trying to get to my button.
All right. Yeah, take care. Well, I mean, I think we've hit all the topics tonight, and we did a really, y'all did a great job on here. I could have just walked away from the stream and it still would have kept going, which is amazing. That's why I love having you folks on here. I mean, we've been talking Toy Renaissance for so long, you know, or not that long, but the words have taken off. And what do you got there? What do you boys got there?
Well, I just wanted to make sure because I thought we were going to talk some lightning pussies. I mean,
right?
Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, right?
I mean, Jay's going over.
We got to talk some A.W.O.K, right?
Didn't okay? You know, you're right. We didn't hit A.W.O.K that hard tonight. It sort of weaved its way into the conversation.
If you want to throw up the video again, Ken.
I'm lost now. Oh, here we go. Yeah. My goodness.
Beastly.
I didn't know you could share multiple tabs. Yeah, let's hit A.W.O.K a little harder this time.
Yeah. So these were showcased at the show. And I'll be having a huge segment of the entire walkthrough of the booth and interview with Jason, which I was able to get. Huge thanks to those guys; they were so generous. And these are the brand new wave. Well, which wave is this again, Brick and Adam? I can't remember. They were literally just showcased at the show. I think wave 5. There we go. Wave 5.
No, 6. There's an additional digit.
No. There's the digit.
There's Gladiator.
Yeah, I really want Hannibal. Are his legs that short looking, or is it the angle of? I don't know.
They're a bit short.
Okay, that's fine.
They're not as short as Thane's legs, but
okay, yeah, because I procrastinated on getting Thane, and it was because I saw Hannibal at the show, or at least on people's videos, including Jay's, because I remember this part of his video because he had like a 3-part tour. And I remember seeing this part, and I was like, "If Hannibal's coming, I'm getting Thane because they're like the fathers of those houses, right?" So, yeah.
Yeah, these guys are just looking ridiculous. I mean, like honestly, these guys are just kicking ass. Like for a studio that pretty much just Spiro's been doing some really good work on honestly, and these guys are just looking really cool. The Wolf Clan is really coming along really well, and all these guys are and the Reptilians. I think this is the first time the Reptilian clan has been showcased as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that diorama, that thing is ridiculous. I don't know. I'm gonna take a deep dive into that. They should actually start thinking about releasing an actual playset, because that diorama in the back was just absolutely incredible. But yeah,
I
this
thought
brand
that's
new...
what Ace was going to do. He's going to save
Huh.
us. From...
Save us.
Give
Save us.
us
You can your diorama can be called could be called that other acronym there. A.W.O.K.
easier. Yeah, it's just easier, Ace, because a lot of people, whenever they have like the or anything like that, they just omit them in acronyms.
Yeah, but he can call his line that with it. He can add the T.
Yeah, it was really cool meeting these guys, and like I said, that diorama is just ridiculous. Like it was absolutely insane. And they showcased a few more of their variants and additional monkey, simian type of characters. It was a lot of fun.
Mm.
So anybody, if you want, just use that QR code and you can pre-order them right now.
Oh, that's amazing. I really like Gladiator Pale. I don't know why. I just do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As far as this line, we've kind of hit, a lot of territory tonight, but there is something special for me, at least, and I know somebody else here, about this line in terms of the way it really hits that balance of, I think, this sort of something familiar and nostalgic, but in a very new sort of way, especially if you start to delve into the lore. You start to realize, like, you're looking at all those, and it's like, you might want to think, you might be tempted or fooled to think that it's very sort of like Gladiator, sword and sorcery kind of thing, sword and sandals. But there's a strong sci-fi vibe in these, a true sci-fi vibe that,
Yes.
there's interplanetary travel. There is manipulation of DNA. There's artificial intelligence, cloning, somehow Palpatine returns. So just so you know, like, there's a lot of great stuff in here. And so, yeah, I don't know. You want to do some A.W.O.K talk real quick, Adam? No.
You guys should be. I mean, that's what we need.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big, Dragonar has a Motu, like a very obvious tie-in to Motu, right? Mythic Legions is not connected to an IP, but Mythic Legions, very much filled a void where, there wasn't there wasn't a there was a Lord of the Rings line, but not an expanded one, and it was a bit hit or miss, right? There's different scales and stuff like that, and then beyond that, they kind of expanded that to do the goblins and to do the trolls and to do like a whole bunch of other fantasy stuff, right? But
Yagualians.
A.W.O.K is an original IP that, at first glance definitely has a whole lot of things that influence it. There's Brick and I did an episode of A.W.O.K talk where we were just literally like listing, it wasn't the whole episode, but we were listing off, all the IPs that sort of we recognized within Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
Yep.
And to get that list, you'll have to watch the video, but it's a long list.
And it's an edited list, by the way, because we went even longer.
Because I think we went for about 10 minutes. We were like, what about like 1% of this? But there was everything in there. And I think the big thing, Brick and I are deep into the lore. And what Brick and I want people to do is get the comic books and sort of get there with us. Because I think at face value, what you get in the first couple of waves, and even in, the next couple of waves, isn't 100% a reflection of the world. We're talking about high fantasy, and the whole time I'm thinking, A.W.O.K's not really high fantasy. It's more sci-fi than high fantasy. It just tends to skew that way with the first couple waves. because of the figures that are in those waves.
And
but
that's fair.
there are energy weapons, you know, the without spoiling too much. There's interplanetary travel. There's you know, there's space travel. Like Brick said, there's cloning. There's so much cool stuff going on.
Palpatine returns.
I mean, it
happened. It totally happened.
And then beyond that, I mean, the characters are well written. The development of the characters within the comic book is really, really good. You know, you want more. I always want more, right? I'm constantly asking, when are we going to get the next issue of the comic book? I wish it was more regular to get more lore.
Agreed.
But all that aside, you know, lore aside, how much I sort of want more of the comic books, the action figures themselves are, like, honestly, second to none. I mean, you know, you might say like, oh, you know, they're not Hot Toys or whatever, but they're also not $300. You know, they don't have the articulation of maybe SH Figure Arts, and it's like, again, you know,
still pretty good articulation though.
Price, it's fantastic articulation.
Yeah,
I think it's about the best articulation you're going to get at the price point.
At that price point, I mean, they hold a pose so well. Right?
Absolutely.
It's
without any hesitation my favorite line that I'm buying right now.
And I just want to shout out WraithMace, good friend of the channel, top tier patron. I know his Instagram account was hacked a little while ago, but he does some fantastic cosplay and some fantastic photography. We were talking a little bit earlier today, so that's why if you follow me on Instagram, I've shared his account because he put up a lot of work on the previous Instagram and then lost it, and now he's kind of rebuilding again. And I just want to help him do that so that we can see his amazing cosplay work and amazing photography work. So
I joined in and gave him a sub earlier today because
excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
If you look at Super 7, right, and you know, here's something I really have to say. It's less of a criticism and more of a reality. Brian and crew, they need to upgrade their buck because their basic buck is ridiculously old. I mean, it is one of the pioneers of, you know, the adult collector line. You know what I mean? Like you could argue that McFarlane was way above everybody, was way before everybody else. But McFarlane, like many adult collector lines, were more like statues. Right?
His articulation was so limited.
Yeah.
At the time,
yeah. And of course, the buck was inherited from the Four Horsemen, right? Through Mattel. Right, but they've stuck with that buck for every single iteration of their figures, including their latest Power Rangers line, which is ridiculous. Power Rangers need to act like they can do karate kicks in their sleep, and these ones can't. You know what I mean? They just don't have the articulation as needed. So when you compare that, which people are collecting, like me, I'm furiously collecting Super 7 because I love Thundercats. I love you know, the Motu line that they actually ended up doing. And then you compare it to A.W.O.K, which has so much more articulation, and you know, it's just so much more advanced.
So,
right?
Did you got to meet Brian? And I don't know if Oz did as well. How was Brian in person, Brian Flynn?
I mean,
or did you not get to meet him?
No, I did an interview with him. But
what am I talking about? You told me about that.
Well, I posted it a few weeks ago.
I know, but also, anyway.
Yeah, but you know, Brian is pleasant. He's a very pleasant guy, but he is the face of the company, right? Much like the way Ace is the face of his company, Brian is the face of his company as well. Brian, if you're having a conversation with Brian, just a regular conversation, he's very, very pleasant. Like, he's a very pleasant person to talk to, you know, talk toys. He's very engaging. When you're asking the hard questions, he's gonna be measured. He's gonna be, you know, he's gonna be very careful with what he says, and that's fine, right? I mean, like, you know, I had a question about Canadian shipping, and he was very, very careful about what he was saying.
Yes,
because it's true.
And I especially enjoyed your reaction when you walked in and you saw the cat's lair. I know you fanboy sometimes, but man, was I happy for you fanboying in the moment there. Because you're sitting there, you're like, this is, I think your exact words were, this is literally the elephant in the room, I think is what you said when you saw that.
At one point, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the
'Cause
this
it
is the big
was.
one. But then I also said, yeah, I think I'm done. I can leave PowerCon now. I'm finished. Like this is what I came to see, and I'm done. But
Well, and Oz and a few others were saying that, you know, Super 7 may have been the next busiest booth next to the Four Horsemen there, you know? So, yeah.
There were a lot of booths. There were a
I
lot
know.
of booths. There were a lot of things. But in terms of attention, the Cat Slayer was definitely garnering
Yeah.
a ton
Yep.
of attention.
Yes.
Pulled a lot of attention
Yeah.
because nobody's seen anything on that scale in person before, really. Because again, even Snake Mountain, people who got the Super 7 Snake Mountain, it's huge, but the play features, like Cat Slayer is a play set. Snake Mountain is a diorama piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the best way to describe.
No, that's absolutely true. This is just a shell. Like you know, as much as I love this thing, it's a shell, right? You can't really like. There's really not much to it. I mean, it is actually very very empty. There's very few play features. The snake doesn't attack you. You know what I mean? The microphone doesn't work, right? The little creatures at the bottom. I mean, they're cool, but I mean, what did they do? Please ignore the naked He-Man. You know, there's a jail cell which can't even hold a prisoner. I mean, like there's things about this set which obviously could have been better, but it was inherited. It was an inherited piece from the Four Horsemen. There was not. They couldn't have rejigged this without actually incurring additional costs. Right?
Fair enough.
The fact that they built Cast Slayer from the ground up without the Four Horsemen and did so many things in terms of overall value, Cat Slayer is ridiculous. I mean, people are like $650, $700. What are you guys crazy? No, this thing has so many play features right off the bat. Even if we don't hit those extra tiers, this thing by itself is absolutely worth the price. If you really look at what you're getting. If it went to retail, would it be $200? Would it be $150? Yes. Is anybody going to carry this thing? This thing is bigger than you could ever imagine. Whatever you have in your head, okay, whatever you have in your head when you see me or Oz or anybody else standing in front of this thing, double it, okay? Because it doesn't, like pictures, video, it does not do it justice when you're actually there. It's just absolutely ginormous. The Cat Slayer head is bigger than my head. It is absolutely, like, physically bigger than my head. It's huge. It's huge.
Tonight we've been talking about indie toys, and I know people have their sort of take on, like, is Super 7 still an indie or not? But like, let's
talk about that too.
But aside from the notion of that, like, they're not Mattel, they're not Hasbro. And you just mentioned that their Snake Mountain was inherited from the Four Horsemen while they were working on the line with Mattel, right?
Yep.
I'm just going to say this about Super 7 and sort of the indie spirit. They started that way, and they, in my mind at least, they are. And I will tell you, Mattel wouldn't give you that Cat Slayer. Mattel wouldn't have given you the Thunder Tank. No. Mattel wouldn't give you... or Hasbro wouldn't have given you oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the Silverhawks, like that vehicle,
Mirage.
No, but just the one that they've actually released, the sort of like the motorcycle, the cop car, basically the cop motorcycle.
That's Thundercats.
That's Thundercats.
The Thundercats,
you're
Silverhawks.
No, it's Thundercats. Are you talking about Mandora? Or are you talking about?
I was talking about, yes, I think so.
Mandora, yeah.
Oh.
That's the
thing. No, I'm sorry, you're right, I'm way wrong.
It's getting late. So
no, it's fair, but the point is, it's just like there's something about these companies where they can do things and be a little bit more nimble and creative, and it's not always successful, right? But yeah, I just want to throw out there that Super 7 was indie, like was indie AF, I would say, or punk AF. I have had the opportunity to speak with Brian like decades ago now, and that's how old I am. But it's like, I know that he comes from this sort of like punk rock, literally punk rock background. And, when they started, it was a magazine all about sofubi and Japanese toy collecting and vintage toys. And they've started doing this thing. And so I will just say that, like, the things that they're able to do and how they approach toy making I actually don't think is that different from, say, what Jason's able to do. And so I hear you on the buck and all of that, 100%. But just to acknowledge that, like, the indie spirit does things differently than your bigger companies.
I'm going to agree 100% with you, Brick. But here's the thing, and this is something I think, and they're not ready. I don't think they're ready. But this is something I think that Brian is wrestling with. The whole Super 7 team is wrestling with. They act like an indie company, but they're not an indie company, right? There's a realization that has to come at some point, because they're dealing with major brands now. They're dealing with rap artists now. They're dealing with music labels. They're dealing with properties like Conan the Barbarian. At one point they had Master Universe. They have Thundercats. They have and now if you want to expand that exponentially, they have G.I. Joe. They've got what's it called? They've got Star Trek. They've got what's it called? Xena, Warrior Princess. They're into the pop culture now, heavy, and now they actually are at Best Buy, and I saw their stuff in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're at Walmart. They're at Target. They're here in Toys R Us up here in Canada. They've made it, right? But they only want certain things to go to retail, and they want to keep the more indie stuff, the way what they perceive as indie, which in my opinion they should expand.
I think to Brick's point, though, what Brian and Super 7 are trying to do is exactly what they're doing. Like, people will say, oh, they need to change the buck. They need to improve the articulation. They need to do this. They need to do that. And I think Brian and Super 7 are kind of going, we don't need to do anything. We're going to continue to do what we set out to do. And people will either buy it or they won't, right? You look at you mentioned Power Rangers, right? The reaction to some of those Power Rangers was not good enough, so they're just not making the figures. The Disney Rescuers figures have been canceled because the numbers didn't make sense. I get the sense that, like, oh, if you have Thundercats, you have to do something better. But the thing is, there's other people that have had Thundercats that totally blew it, and what they're doing with Thundercats now, we're getting the Cat's Lair. Like, you didn't get a Cat's Lair from anybody else that had the IP before now. So it's working with enough people that they're going to continue to do it. And to Brick's point too, like, they come from a punk rock aesthetic. So, I think the more people say, like, you guys need to do this, the more they're going to be like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do what they want to do.
I totally understand that, and I'm not questioning what they're doing, really. You know what? I'm actually saying they're going to do what they do, because, again, as I say, they act like a their whole theory and their whole methodology of actually running their company is still very indie, right? Very underground. The way they do it. They're not ready to expand to a NECA style, because NECA started very much the same way that the Super 7 did, which is very indie. A lot of their projects were in the $40-$45 range at first, and they're still arguably very, very expensive now. But at the same time, they've expanded to. So I keep touching my mic. They expanded to Walmart. They expanded to Target. They're pushing out and getting their price points as low as they possibly can for the larger market. And I understand. Moving up to that level it's a huge risk, right? Because if you don't make the overall sales at that level, even though the profit margin is massive, the risks are also quite massive. If people don't if they don't sell through, which is actually what happened with Bandai and Mattel, right? They went to market with Thundercats was direct market, much like Classics, right, for Mattel, but Bandai was in store, right? And the problem was it just didn't have the traction, because really Thundercats is a niche market, right? And luckily Super 7 has actually got all of the fans who were interested or still are interested in Thundercats and have galvanized them, right? To the point now that the Thunder Tank was actually a pretty big success for them. And through that, they realized maybe Cat's Lair is possible. And now they've proven that it is. And I got this comment this afternoon. They're like, "Oh my God, Cat's Lair has just seized." And I'm like, we're in the last month stretch now. Like it's going for 3 months, right? So
Right.
once we hit the last 2 weeks, you're gonna see FOMO hitting everybody like crazy. I'm gonna be talking about it. Everybody's gonna be talking about it. How this is the last couple of weeks to go, and it's just gonna go gangbusters. Like
It also charges when you back.
no, it's immediate.
Doesn't it?
No, it's immediate. Either you.
No, that's what he's saying.
That's
It
what I'm
charges.
saying. When you,
It charges
when you hit the
immediately
button,
when you back.
Your order goes in. Your card
Yep.
gets charged.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
So people, I mean, you're gonna wait 2 years for it anyway. What's waiting another 30 days before you put your order in?
No, I know, but this is the problem with people. Like even me, I'm about $300 away, but we need, like many of us need the time to build up that cash.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
I think the point is that's why we're going to see a big surge in the end.
Oh no,
There's going to be a big spike at the end
Yeah.
because
Yes.
people are just going to
Always.
wait until the last few days.
Yeah, because
there'll be a countdown like you did with the Dragonfly, you know, and we'll do the countdown tour. Like Mega J will do his live stream, and Toy Habits will do theirs, and Geek Dad Life will do theirs, and you know,
But
Guy will probably touch on it.
I genuinely suspect that so with like a HasLab, right, where it charges your card the day after the campaign ends.
Yep.
You see a big spike at the beginning. You see a slow rise through 37 of the 40 days. And then the last couple days it spikes again. And the spike at the beginning tends to be pretty close to the spike at the end, or at least it has been so far with all the HasLabs.
Yeah.
I think with the Cat's Lair, the spike at the beginning was kind of just enough people to get that early the key, right? The early backers.
Yep.
I think the spike at the end is going to be way more significant.
Very possible. Very possible.
Yeah, because you've had people who've had time to build up those funds. Maybe people who were not
selling
so
off
interested in the
things.
early bird, trying to figure out how they're going to adjust it with their collection. But I mean, we've seen it all time and time again because all of us have done coverage on many of these crowd funds where there's always that significant spike right at the end. And I got to agree with Adam. I think we're going to see a lot bigger when it comes to the Cat's Lair than we have with previous. I don't think this is going to be like an Eternia where it's going to fizzle out and not hit that last tier at the very end. I think we're going to see this fully fund. And I may be wrong, but, you know, I have a very sneaking suspicion that this one's going to slip in the last 3 days.
Well, you know, not to get too far off topic, but for example, there are only 10 days left for the Ghost, right? And it's plateaued. You know what I mean? It's been sitting at for a while. It was actually under 11,000 for weeks. It was like sitting just under 11,000. They just ticked over 11,000 2 days ago. And it's been so Ezra has been unlocked, but you still have 2 characters go. 10 days left. On the 5th day, you're gonna see just a huge ramp, and then as those days continue to go, I have no doubt that they're gonna get all the tiers. You're gonna get Kanan, you're gonna get Garzeb, Zeb, Aurelios. You're gonna get the whole thing. But again, it's all about what I like to call creative management of funds. You got to move things around. You know what I mean? You got to make room on your credit card here. You got to figure out your food budget, your gas budget, your rent. You got to be able to move those things around right before the day before you back it, right?
Yep.
And that's what happened. And poor Toy Sorceress, she played that game, but missed the hour when she was supposed to back Mondo Skeletor. And she sort of missed it, right? We're all guilty of it. Whenever there's something which is a high ticket item, we do what we have to do to that we need. We do what we have to do to manage the funds and move that around, right? So
I've missed the Legion's pre-order by a day because I thought it was ending a certain day and it wasn't, and I was like, oh crap, I missed it. So
they end theirs at funny times though too.
They do.
Yeah.
They really
like
do.
Midnight,
There's a
it's
strange
like 8
Different
PM.
times of the day.
Yep. It's different times, and sometimes like, you know, it'll be like a Sunday. Other times it'll be like a Monday.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
it's never uniform with them, but that's okay. Cause you know what? If I miss it from them, if I really want it that bad, I'll just pick it up on the retail side. Best part is if I pick it up on the retailer side, if I go through certain retailers, it doesn't charge my card until it finally hits. So
And just on that note, Oz, like as you've seen when you went to PowerCon, the other option, since you're on the East Coast, you've got a couple of options to just go, and they get con prices, which are just a couple of bucks over pre-sale. So
Yep. Instead of $37, he's 40. That's
hey,
not bad.
Ken, let's Indie Toys real quick. I know we covered some lines. Can I just do the quick barrage? Because there's a bunch of stuff out there, folks. Like, yes, we've just touched the iceberg, really. And I know Ken was saying, let's just stick to the toys that are out now, because there's even a bunch more that are pre-order status, just waiting to come. But I'll
look
tell you,
how good a conversation we can have just like this. But yeah, like, go ahead. Let's touch on more stuff.
There's stuff coming out of overseas. Like, we've got Memory Toys, right, doing things like this that totally fit into your Mythic, Legions, High Fantasy, since we're going to sort of stay there for now, right? That's Memory Toys, folks. And then we've got what do we got? We've got, oh my gosh, Fury Planet, right, doing like A.W.O.K, but coming from the East. Embracing sort of a martial arts motif. And I don't have the time to show you this. I'll probably, there's some stuff coming on my channel that'll show the articulation. Again, just like amazing stuff coming out from indie toy companies.
It's not just the East. Yeah, it's not just the East that they're doing. They're also doing, almost like Transylvanian stuff too, right? Like,
they've got a bunch of
stuff.
We got
Veteran Williams.
This is Maestro Union. Yes, I forgot. I said the name Fury Planet, but that's the line. The company is called Maestro Union.
Maestro you talked about this the other day. Yeah.
And you're right, Jay. That Veteran Williams figure, and
it's like they all come from different parts of the world. Like Crocker is from Australia. He's from the China. The Veteran is like I said, from Transylvania, or some other part of the world.
US.
Right? Yeah,
pretty sure he's from Wisconsin.
Yeah, and then you have the liquor, right?
You've got Patriot Studios doing this thing out of nowhere. The articulation on this is nuts. Adam is 100% right. A.W.O.K is fantastic, but then I see some of these other things coming out, and I was like, there's other new things in the game that are just wild in terms of what people can do. And if you're just a fan of toys, which I am, right? I'm a fan of IPs, but I'm a fan of toys and super excited to kind of see what people can do with the action figure. That's Patriot Studio. I just unboxed this tonight with Oz, and this is now we're veering into the non-fantasy, but we kind of cheated with A.W.O.K anyways.
That's fine.
We've got, showing you guys this earlier.
Toy Notch.
By Toy Notch, right? The Astrobots line. Articulation is wild, including like, hey, what's going on, folks?
Look at them
peace, right? And power, right? There's just all sorts of cool stuff going on. And, I don't even have the crazy tarantula thing that can click onto its back, and you get like a four-legged or four-armed, four-gun thing. Well, all I'm trying to say is, there's just amazing stuff happening right now. And I'll come back to Ken because we're on his channel right now. Toy Renaissance. Toys coming from everywhere, and they're not crappy. Like, these are like this is some amazing stuff right now. And I think, yes, Combatants Fight for Glory by Zezre.
Yeah.
Like, they're just pushing the envelope, and that's only gonna push the Hasbros, the Mattels.
You gents enjoy the whole Renaissance talk. I was just in the background deleting the same repeat comment that kept showing up across multiple videos because somebody discovered my channel and decided they needed to correct a bunch of things I was saying. So I'm like, while you folks were having a fun talking, I was busy deleting a troll, so it's all good.
Yeah, ignore the trolls.
No, I just had someone keep trying to correct me on the same thing.
Just not these trolls.
Just not those trolls. And I'm like, they're putting the same comment across multiple videos, and I'm checking my facts on my phone, and I'm like, no, I'm right. So delete. So yeah.
And anyway. Since we're on it, because just to maybe put a fine point on it, it doesn't have to be indies. Like, there are people who've been in the toy game for a long time getting into action figures. Jada's been doing toys for a long time in the form of vehicles, and they're like, hey, we want to do action figures, let's get a license. They got Street Fighter, and they're blowing people away with the articulation on these things.
Not even just Street Fighter. We've got their little mascot line that they're doing, where you got the cereal monsters, you got Chester the cheetah. He fits right in with your A.W.O.K people. Come on.
That's the only Jada that I've pre-ordered.
I'm just saying, like, these guys are putting Jada Toys is on fire right now. And no, they're not really indie. They've been in the business for years. What I think really kind of helps separate an indie from the big guys is whether they're more publicly traded or not. Do they have shareholders, that kind of thing? Like, we're talking about Super 7. They're more boutique, but they're not publicly traded. They're not open. There's no shareholders. The only people they're beholden to is themselves. On that same wave, like Todd McFarlane, he may be very mainstream. He may be out there, but he is still indie. Bricks pointing at his Lego.
Just saying. They're not publicly traded either. Still a family business.
Right. You know, these are all
an indie line.
They are indie in their own rights, but you know, it's really just that matter of, you know, are they doing it their way, or do they have to play by somebody else's rules?
Yeah, I think I know where you're coming from, Oz. You can still be corporate, but still also be very, very, you know, grassroots, right? Like that's exactly what you said. Is boutique companies like Super 7 choose to do that, and I respect that. I do. Would I like them to have, you know, better articulation? Absolutely, especially with things like Power Rangers. But I am always going to continue supporting the Thundercats the way they are, because I don't need that much articulation with Thundercats. I don't need a crazy amount of articulation for Conan the Barbarian. You know what I mean? Those the way they look is what I really want, right? And that's actually why I collect them, right? And Silverhawks, absolutely the same thing. Like, although, you know, Ramen Toy has demonstrated the Silverhawks can articulate amazingly, right? Again, there are players in the market right now that are looking to fill that void. So, you know, that's right. What we're talking about right now.
Yeah. WraithMace, my man, thank you for the super chat.
Yes.
Says right here, I dove deep into the Joy Toy Warhammer 40K line.
Wow.
I just put in my pre-order for this monster Joy Toy JT6434. Gonna put up some photos soon on his new account, I guess.
Sweet.
So
can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a bit about that as well. I'm not super into the Warhammer stuff, but you know, the people who are, I mean,
those
they really love it.
Those Joy Toy figures, whether it's the Warhammer stuff, whether it's like they did like a I don't know if it's a werewolf or it's just a wolf man.
Yeah,
but it's Joy Toy's 118, but the werewolf is like 6 inches tall. And I
with the young woman,
it's like just such a cool action figure. And then I was like, wait, I don't collect Joy Toys, let alone 1/18 scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's just so much cool stuff out there. I wanted to throw out too that, like, you know, the some of the Kickstarters and stuff that just sort of come out of nowhere, right? There's one coming up. I spent the last 5 minutes looking this up. Legendary, which is 4 Horsemen designed, weird sci-fi. It's somebody that worked on the original Guardians of the Galaxy is involved, and it's
4 Horsemen engineered and sculpted, kind of like Armies of Ashmore. Yeah, it's designed by those folks. And Legendary, it's called Legendary Meta Travelers.
Yeah,
good stuff. Yeah, as Ken pointed out, like before we got it, he's like, let's just stick to the stuff that's out right now. But
we're good. We're
right.
Good.
There's so many things in the pipeline.
We're prepping you for what's to come, folks.
And there'll be many more independent toy line type of conversations going forward.
Yeah.
So I mean, well, we've been at it for close to 2 hours here, and amazing conversations that just kept flowing. And I love it when we have these like organic conversations.
Yeah.
And like we've all gotten to really know each other very well over the last, like, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, some of us a year, right? Yep. In Adam's case, since before we even had channels. Right. And look, I don't know, like I don't even know how to put a bow on this topic and wrap it up, other than like it's bedtime for some of us and bedtime for some of us on both coasts. So
actually, I think go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brick. Go ahead.
I was just gonna make a joke that you were gonna go on and stream on your channel right after this. So go ahead.
You talking about me?
Yeah, Jay, because you're always the one that, you know.
You
does the late night.
You never know. I mean, like, this is.
Well, you give everybody the late night needs on Friday.
Right.
I continue the party Saturday night until like 5 a.m. Eastern time. It's
And
just
I
how
usually
our
go
time
on
is.
Sunday morning to kind of keep things going, but this is now my Sunday morning. So
Yeah, we keep the party rolling through the weekend, everybody.
I think what we can take away from this is that the toys are a big thing. A lot of people are going to say the same thing, and a lot of people have been echoing this for a while, that kids don't play with toys. That's actually not true. Kids play with toys. They play with
Kids
toys in
love
abundance.
toys.
If you actually come here to Canada, you can see just how big Toys R Us still is. I mean, if the toy store, if a toy store could exist on adult collectibles, it would not last. I mean, that's just not possible, right?
That's a
dedicated
comic book
toy
shop.
Yeah, a dedicated toy store needs to market the kids. But having said that, this is where the indie developer can shine, because you know what, the more and more we're seeing that larger companies like Mattel and Hasbro, unless they have properties which are tied to movie licenses or massive brands like DC or Marvel, they're not investing in adult collectibles. They're just not doing it, right? McFarlane is probably the one brand that really is all in on adult collectibles. But again, we're talking about Todd McFarlane. He pioneered one of the greatest indie brand comics, which became the
and he's no longer really indie. He's kind of mainstream now. Though, mind you, he doesn't have a board of directors either. He's still the man at the
He
top,
still
right?
only answers to himself.
Like what Oz said, and like what Ken is saying, both of them are saying the same thing. Basically, he acts like an indie developer, but he's more mainstream now. But the thing is, he keeps acting like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to run my company the way I want to run my company. Same thing with Brian Flynn. Same thing with so many different, companies. Even NECA, to a certain degree, sort of acts kind of indie in the way they do things and the kind of properties they go after, which I love, right? But the truth of the matter is, we have never been so spoiled for choice as adult collectors in any time. Never. I think this as Ken has said multiple times, this is a toy renaissance. This is the time that we should all be grateful, that these things exist, because there's never been a time where Master Universe, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Silverhawks, all these great figures from our past have come forward.
Chicken Fried Toys bringing back cops
and props, absolutely. But in mixed in with that, now we have IPs which are creator owned, which have come out of nowhere. I mean, like,
apparently, yeah. Sorry, carry on.
No. I'll put this on, and then you can take over again. Basically, like as we said, Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, right? Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, right? Like, these are properties which are all creator owned and have actually come full circle and created toys for themselves. This has never happened. Becoming an independent creator and actually making toys for yourselves was unheard of in the 80s. No one could do it, right? I think the only one who really sort of got away with it, honestly, and did it in a legal sense, was definitely Warriors of the Sun. You know what I mean? Like, that property was right, and I think Mattel thought about challenging it, but said, "Yeah, no, we're going to leave this one alone." Right, and now. She laid the groundwork, right, for a lot of other independent companies to take on that mantle and just continue, in
very true.
In the independent sphere. So,
all right, no, I lost my train of thought because it's getting late. But if anyone's got any other closing remarks, I was just going to tell everyone to subscribe to the group of you. All your descriptions are below, but if anyone's got any parting words to close out this Renaissance talk of
I think Jay,
independent lines.
I think Jay just really kind of did a wonderful job tying it.
He really did.
The only thing that I'll throw in there that we haven't mentioned, because we were kind of keeping away from things that haven't come out yet, but Ramen Toy, the Marshall.
Yeah, the Marshall.
I'm all about it. And so I'm really excited to kind of see what's going to be coming from them in the future. And, again, the indies are everywhere and we've seen it. I know people definitely are paying attention to what Ace is doing and what he's going to do next. And, I just want to make sure that got thrown in there. But I think Jay really kind of put the exclamation point at the end.
Yeah, he absolutely nailed it. And you know, I've been talking a lot about Ramatoy lately, and I talk directly to Ace all the time anyway. So it's kind of like if I over talk about a line, people will say that I'm like shilling a little bit too much for it. So I like to take a small break and then just go back to it like 2 weeks later and say, all right, at this point I can't stop my shilling, so I'll just do it.
No, you know what? You know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about you know, perceptions. You talk too much about something that you love, and all of a sudden people are saying that you're a shill. No, you're not a shill. You are bringing awareness to people who may not know anything about this line. Like, I had no idea about A.W.O.K. I had no idea, right? And if it wasn't for Break Something and Highly Articulated, I still wouldn't know anything about it, right? The reality is, you need to keep talking about these things. You need to keep talking about these brands. And these brands reach out to you specifically because they need the support. I mean, you know, I might as well just say this now, getting completely off topic at this point. Brick and I are going to start talking about this because I just got this in the mail. It's a gigantic freaking beast.
Yes.
And Brick and I are going to try and build this thing. He's going to walk me through it because I
was going to say, I don't know that I'm going to do it, but sure.
With building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
This is not Lego. This is a company called Fantasy, right? But they've acquired a license, an official license for Astro Boy toys, right? And they you know what? I'm interested in seeing. They reached out to me and said, hey, you know, would you be interested in reviewing this? And I said, I don't know anything about Lego, but hell, why not? I mean, like, you know, again, I want to support as many groups as possible. And just if I could really take one more moment of your time, Ken, for everybody out there, please, guys, could you please check out Hexastack on
yes.
On I'm just gonna bring it up. Hexastack on Kickstarter. They have 12 days left to go. I'm gonna share this right now, Ken, if you don't mind. Really quickly. They're a wonderful independent project, since we're talking about it, and this is sort of in the realm that we're talking about. So Ken, if you want to just bring that up.
I'm trying to find. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Give these guys a follow. Now,
they were at PowerCon.
Yeah, they were at PowerCon, and there's tons of footage. People were there. I was shilling for them. No, I'm just kidding. I was at their booth. I was you know, educating people about their product when I had an opportunity. As a matter of fact, some idiot actually made this video because Travis didn't have a video because, you know, he doesn't know how to make a video. So some idiot in his hotel room stole all of his stuff and underground as quickly as possible, put some you know, uneducated and misinformed, no, just kidding, as informed as he possibly could, whip together a video in his hotel room while he was at PowerCon. And you know, I myself, and I think a lot of us here, want to support independent projects like this, and Travis has worked hard on these particular things. He's only got 12 days left to go. I want to help him as much as possible and help push into you know, as far as he can get with this project. But guys, it really is a wonderful stand, and I think you guys definitely should check it out. I wish that he would have you know, talked to some of us about, you know, the things you need when you do a Kickstarter, and video being one of the absolute must-haves in a Kickstarter. So, you know, we're all doing what we can to help support all these independent projects, and definitely I want to see this one try to get to the finish line strong. So guys, thank you for that. I didn't want to take up too much time, but
no, we're good.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of us are Hexastack shills, right? So
we really are. You know, all these great indie toys we're talking about need some great indie displays, and you're totally getting those with Hexastack.
Oh, look at this. Yeah.
Make sure you back that.
How does Gazz find links so quickly? He's got like 4 monitors going and like a high-speed internet or something. Like
he's like me. You know, he's like, they mentioned what? Let me Google that while I'm live. I do it.
And he finds the right one though. Like, I don't know.
You
know, like he's got attention. He's got attention to detail, right? You know, I've got friends out there. I'm used to them. They read like every third word and they draw conclusions. You know what I mean? Gazz is one of those who like researches it, processes it very quickly, and sends it out there. So, yeah. All right. I just want to thank the wonderful panel here tonight. Mega J, Highly Articulated, Brick Something, Oz, Toy Habits, everybody that was in the chat. I mean, it felt like a busier chat than my usual TKO stream, despite the, losing a huge chunk of the East Coast. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Maybe I should consider doing this more regularly. I don't know.
You had more of the East Coast here than I think you realize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what? I think it works. I think East Coasters are used to sleeping late, right? So, or is it just you
don't
folks?
sleep at all? So
yeah.
So Brooklyn.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Gosh, I don't even know what I'm releasing next week. Adam, you've got a stream tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
Right.
Pacific,
Right.
5 p.m. East Coast.
Yeah. When are you on next, Brick?
So after Highly Articulated, you can jump over to my channel to check out the Brick Something News. It's news, NEWS, for needless ephemera we saw, because it's not always timely. It's just cool stuff that myself and a co-host want to talk about. Tomorrow I'll have Allison Troy, the Retro Toy Princess, joining me. So that'll be at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. And then after that, you can go check out Hella Dope. You can go check out Geek Dad Live. You can go check out on the Just Shelve It. It's constant, folks. So
it's a lot of us out there
everywhere. Yep.
Oz, I know you were just on, but sorry.
Oh, yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and whatever you don't catch live, there's always that replay. Just make sure you hit that like and leave a comment too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to say, Wednesday night I'm going to be over on Mega J Retro, and I'm gonna try and help him feel brave about building that Astro Boy. He's gonna be awesome.
So that answers when Mega J is gonna be on soon, unless he's got another video. Sometimes you just do a news burst in the middle of the week anyway, Jay.
I'll go on whenever. I don't really care. Like,
okay.
Jay's gonna be live Monday morning.
People don't listen to me anyway, so it's okay. So
oh my
god,
nobody.
You must have done something right. You're here. People must have done something right. You must have done something right. Oz, when are you on next, bud?
When's the next person inviting me? Honestly, I mean, as far as what I know is coming up planned, this week I actually won't be doing Toy Frenzy on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
But I will be over on Lawrence's A Punk with Toys channel.
Oh, nice.
Yep, he's gonna have me on, and we're just gonna hang out and shoot the shit. Basically what I do every Saturday anyway. But this time I'll be on his channel doing it, and then of course,
that'll be good. Yeah.
Next week I will be live at my usual time slot on Saturday, which is anywhere between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. when I start, and then till anywhere between 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. when I go off.
Okay.
And Oz, when will we be hearing a little bit more about Legions?
We just settled that today, didn't we? So actually, next week, instead of just your average Ozstradamus Toyz live hangout, we're gathering back the class. So if y'all haven't been paying attention tonight and you need a little bit more classing on Legions, whether it be Mythic or Cosmic, once a month, myself, Brick, and some other beautiful individuals, Jesse from Just Shelve It, Travis from Hexastack, started to roll off my tongue, but it's Curtis Ackerman, Eldor, and Sean Scavarna from Legends of Grayskull podcast. We all like to get together and talk about everything Legions, Mythic, Cosmic, Figure Obscure. Honestly, we should just call it like 4 Horsemen class, but
sure.
Love it. Okay, great. Thank you all for being here. Thanks everyone in the chat. And we'll cut it right there, and I'll see you when I see it. I've got no outro, so you'll just see a cold cut right about now. Not that high
cold
tech yet.
Cuts where?
Cold cuts. See now I'm hungry. Right, midnight
cold
snack.
cuts like Michelangelo.
All right, something like that. Okay, have a good one, everyone. Take care.